All right, welcome back to the Boys of 161st Street, episode 209. Today is June 20th, 2022, and the Yankees just take the first game against the Rays, and they do not complete the sweep against the Blue Jays today. We're recording this after the game. We set up late for you guys to record this time around, but how are we doing, fellas?
Pretty
Hard
fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Can't complain. Most recently, we just obviously watched the Garrett Cole versus Shane McClanahan duel. And one interesting topic of conversation we were talking about while watching the game together was Garrett Cole obviously bringing in a no-hitter into the 8th inning, couldn't complete it. But one thing we were chatting about during that game is like, when do you think that had he continued the no-hitter, when do you think they would have left him in? And when would they have actually pulled him? At what point? Like, I mean, I just don't think...
They wouldn't have. They wouldn't have pulled him in.
Is there a pitch count that you think that realistically, like if he hit 150, do you think that he was going to stay in?
The only way he would have hit 150 is if he was walking a bunch of guys, and that's the only way he would have got pulled. I think there was no pitch count too high if he was just pitching normal. If he was like working 3-2 counts and it just happened to get up there. Like it was... I know Murphy's painfully aware because we had this argument watching it like 4 times, but I mean, he threw 129 pitches last year in a July start against the Astros, and it wasn't even a no-hitter. He gave up a hit, like it was a one-hitter, but it's still, a very impressive feat, and obviously it's against his old team in the Astros, so he's a little, juiced up, but I don't know. I really don't think I don't think Cole would have let him take him out. I think he would have actually killed him.
That's what I was saying. I genuinely don't think that if Boone, it's going to be like Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens is the last person to do that when he like told Joe Torre to go sit back down during that. I mean, I don't know what he was doing. I don't think he was throwing a no hitter, but he just told him to sit his ass fucking down. I think especially during a no hitter, I wouldn't like to be taken out either. So I just don't think there was a scenario where he was coming out, even because there were scenarios we were painting, like Murph, you were talking about if. He walks 2 batters here. The Yankees are only up 2-0 at the time, so you are obviously trying to win the game, so you have that avenue to play into the decision. But I think when push comes to shove, like we have what is it? Like how many game lead in the AL East now?
11 and
a half games. I think you have afforded that luxury to keep a guy like Garrett Cole. If you were ever thinking about bringing him out because you wanted to keep the game close, I mean, got a 12-game lead in the AL East right now. I think you can. I think you can let him work in there to potentially make some history because Garrett Cole does not have one, and he has been flirting with him seemingly every start, and he loves to cuck us. So I mean, I don't like he likes to get close and not really get it, but. I think that was the fuck you start that we've been asking for against the Rays, albeit this isn't the Rays team that we anticipated. I think the fuck you start, like I said, I think he's done it before. He's having a great year, but this is definitely a good bounce back. The most recent start was the bad one, right?
No, he had one.
No, he had
He had one after that. He had a good one after that. Okay, so this is two good ones in a row, and now he's going to go most likely against the Astros next series, so that'll be fun. It's a little bit different of an Astros team, obviously, since he's been there, and it's probably not going to be as heated as the last time we remember him going 9 strong against the Astros, but Astros nonetheless. One thing I wanted to point out before we get into a little bit of a fun new little thing that Chandler thought about to do for this podcast, because I guess the Yankees keep winning, so we didn't want to do a little bit of just the rinse and repeat, talk about, the praises and sing the songs of the Yankees. But honestly, there is a few different wrinkles that we need to talk about. Clay Holmes gave up a run. So that,
is Clay Holmes washed?
Clay Holmes washed?
Yeah.
So that's the question mark. People are talking. And,
the rumor's floating. Should Wandy Peralta replace him?
For those that can't get a read on the tone of this room, we're joking, but I think everybody is entitled to their off nights. He certainly didn't look like he had it that night.
He still wasn't even that bad though. I mean, ground ball that snuck through a walk, and then the infield hit is where he gave up the run. So I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not like he was giving up nukes. It is what it is.
No, it never was the end of the world, and I think you're right. I mean, He
was bound to happen.
He's bound to give up some runs here and there. It's not that big a deal. It's not any big deal. I mean, it took his ERA to a whopping 0.28 versus 0.02 something, whatever the fuck it was. But regardless, Clay Holmes is not broken. But I think two things here. One thing was interesting that we were talking about during the game was that I think the scenario that he came in, which was 1 out in the 8th, because that was when Garrett Cole gave up the hit. That's a scenario where if Chapman is still going to be the closer, I do think that's probably the scenario. I think Damon said that. So I think he's going to come in a spot like that. That's super high leverage. Obviously, he's probably going to have it most nights. So that's a good spot you want him to come in. He's not going to give up the lead or let them tie it like he did tonight. But I think that super high leverage spot is more where we're going to use the better pitcher in Clay Holmes over Chapman versus a clean 9th. And I think maybe that was Murph. I don't know who said that, but that's I agree. I think that's where I would see
ask you this.
Him coming in.
Loizaga is healthy. This is down the road, obviously. You have the same situation. Chapman's back. Bless you, Damon. Chapman's back. Loizaga's back. Clay Holmes is still awesome. Keep in mind this was the 7, 8, 9 hitters in the Rays lineup. Is there a scenario where you go Loizaga and then you still bring in Clay Holmes to face the 1, 2, 3 in the Rays order in the 9th? Because to me that makes the most sense. Chapman's back.
I mean, that's not. I mean, we know what we would say. I mean, I don't.
I'm just saying it's not a scenario
closer in my mind.
Happen.
But if I'm saying if they're going to use Chapman as the closer, like Boone kind of alluded to, we still don't know if that's true or not. But if he's going to use him as the closer, I think that's the scenario where they would use Clay Holmes. They did use Clay Holmes there, but I think that's the scenario where we could see Clay Holmes like start making a living on the Yankees, being the guy who just comes in the spot where you need him most, not necessarily a safe situation. But when Loizaga coming back and he's buzzing, and it was my choice, yes, I would put Loizaga in that spot and have Clay Holmes close it. But I think it remains to be seen what they're going to do. We're going to see what happens when Chapman comes back. We've had that conversation, but I think until proven otherwise, I think they've said that they're not going to let Clay Holmes just be the closer, and I don't think losing the 31 inning scoreless streak is going to play into that. I think they were still going to do this anyway. He was talking about doing that when he still had the streak. So that streak is irrelevant. It was just cool. And it is the best in Yankees history, right?
Yeah.
Big Mo. Okay.
Was
tip the cap to him there first.
Was he being respectful to old records that, are seemingly unbreakable by blowing it the night that he would have tied it? I would say yes.
What do you mean?
The record. Tied it. He would have tied the record tonight had he gotten through that inning.
All-time record?
Yeah. That all-time record was 33. And he was at 31. And the goal was for him to come in and pitch too.
Wouldn't have been too full, though, because Cole got an out. But, yeah.
I think you were just leaving it on the table because he's going to go do it again.
This doesn't answer your question, but it was interesting that the run he gave up, not only did he give up the inherited run, but he also gave up his first earned run since opening day, coming into a messy inning. We haven't really seen that happen too much this year. So when we're talking about the high leverage spots where he might be coming in and having Chapman go close when it's higher leverage in the 8th, I don't know what the stats are between him having a clean inning and coming in with inherited runners. Obviously, it's happened here and there. And obviously
he's given up 2 of 13 as of that one.
There you go. So I don't know whether he's getting comfortable being a closer and having a clean inning.
I mean, 2 of 13 is pretty damn good. Like that's elite. And today was number 2. So,
and like we said before, it's the same tale that we've been talking about. He had the one hard hit ball, which was a ground ball, just happened to find a hole down the line, and then a weak ground ball that happened to be an infield hit.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to beat a dead horse on this. I mean, I think we can all agree that Clay Holmes is perfectly fine. You still trust him in any situation, pretty much on the planet. If we all had it our way, he'd be the closer.
Yeah. One last fun stat that I want. Like I said, this is going to be a recurring segment on this show, even though he did give up the scoreless run here. I think one fun thing that I noticed is that it's just kind of crazy the year he's having. I know we've thrown out the stats of his ERA plus being like 1,200 and all that stuff, but like I looked at his baseball reference page, and he has a 1.9 WAR this year, and a 2.2 WAR for his career. I just thought that was kind of crazy. He's obviously we kind of knew it was going to be something similar, but that's a little bit nuts. So, yeah, Clay Holmes for you. And one last thing too, this is how I felt during the loss on Saturday, which obviously don't come very often. But I think even during that loss, obviously it's a bad one. We were up 8-3, and then they stormed back and we lost 10-9. But I felt confident in what was it, the top of the ninth when like Stanton was dancing on third base, trying to like get him to get the pitcher to jump. And I think it was, who was it pitching?
It was Sal Romano, no?
Jordan Romano. Jordan Romano.
Is Sal Romano the guy that pitched for the Yankees? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was.
For like one
I knew
game.
I recognized that name.
Yeah, sorry. Same fucking thing.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, I was also thinking about that too. But even with like Stanton dancing on third base, like I felt like we were almost winning in that spot, which I guess is just a testament. Obviously, we were not winning. It was 10-9 at that time, but I just felt like, did anyone else feel like we were... The Yankees currently, as it sits, have I saw a fun stat that was like the least safe leads are when the Yankees are down because they have the most comeback wins in the MLB, and then obviously vice versa. We've mentioned this stat before on the show, but I'm just saying that obviously plays a factor there, and I just felt like we were up. I don't know. I just felt like
I will say this.
It was inevitable that we're going to come back, and it just, I think it bled through, and like the way that Stanton was confident on the base paths, just dancing. He was like halfway home.
I mean, nobody was covering him, but
I know.
I will say this: I didn't really feel. I don't know. There's just something to be when you blow an 8-3 lead, and it was kind of a wonky game. I wasn't feeling like super confident, but I will say this: compared to last year, I didn't feel dead. It wasn't like just a totally hopeless feeling. I was like, well, we're fucked. Like this game's over. I might as well just stop watching it. Like last year, if we blow that lead, that team quits and we're done. Like that's it. That's signed, sealed, delivered. That game's fucking over.
Same thing tonight.
And then they bleeded over into the next game. If they did that yesterday, they would have lost that game today. If this was the 2021 Yankees.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's safe to say that after this, I know Chandler, you put a funny tweet out that was like, "Oh my God, if only the Yankees could beat a good team, this would really be something special, or this would be fun." That was when we were dominating them in games 1 and 2. Obviously couldn't close out the sweep, but it's a different feeling. I remember there was a moment, I don't know who was talking to Stanton, but it was post game after the first one, and it was like just their mentality is that his words to the media were like, whatever, short memory. This team is a short memory. Like, gonna go try and get 2 more. Like, they're looking for sweeps against.
Do you hear what
everybody.
Jordan Montgomery said? Jordan Montgomery said that we treat every single game like we lost the day before. And I like that. I mean, it's kind of cheesy and cliche, but I like it.
I don't think that it's. I mean, I haven't heard people say that before. I mean, it's something.
That's not it's not a saying. I think the short memory thing is a saying that people say a lot.
Yeah, it's a different rendition of that, but I think that's a very good mentality to have. And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to go out there and borderline sweep every single team that you're playing.
I mean, especially 2 huge division series. We just play the Blue Jays, and they're playing the Rays right now. And I remember the last episode we just had. I was like, we're having all this like historic season. We're breaking all these records, and I was like, I think it's funny how we're only 8 games up. I was like, I'm surprised we're not 12, 13 games up on everybody else. And today, Marks, we're 12 games up against the against the Blue Jays right now. Blue Jays lost today. Just beat the Rays, obviously. The Rays are now in 4th place. The Red Sox are just 1 above them today. But yeah, I mean, we have a 12-game lead in the AL East right now, and I think that's fucking incredible, especially in June. And I think that it's funny how literally last episode we were 8-9 games, and I was just like, we should be 12.
Just don't lose.
We just don't lose, and it's very, very crazy. And I think that we're also like, this could be a make or break stretch of games for us right now. Not make or break, but like,
you love saying make or break when it's,
I meant to say like make or like
you can run away with it.
Run away with it or like stay steady, I guess is what I was really trying to say. But make or break is just a better saying.
I see what you're saying, like make or break in the sense that if you go and you dominate, like
put this thing on ice.
We have so far, I wouldn't say put it on ice, obviously, because it's June. But
if you go up 20, you put this thing on ice.
I'm just saying,
right or wrong?
No,
I'm not. No.
The Red Sox blew.
Pretty tough to lose a 20-game lead.
Was it the Red Sox that blew an 18-game lead in September?
Until
Did
we're,
they?
until
And
we're
missed the playoffs.
mathematically ahead and making the playoffs, I'm not going to say shit.
I think it
but-
was 2008, not 2008. I don't know. It was sometime recently that the Red Sox blew an 18-game lead in September.
I mean, I'm not saying like I'd be
It's very
cool with
possible.
it. It's like write it off, but like 20 games. I
mean,
think
look at the
even
fucking-
the Red Sox thing. It's a pretty
Dude, look at
crazy
the-
example.
Just happened to the Angels. The Angels just lost 12 straight.
Angels suck.
Dude, a lot can go wrong,
I know.
especially in a division like this.
All right. Fair enough. Did you want to get into that new segment? You want to tell the people what this segment is, Chandler, since it was birthed in your brain?
Thank you. Yeah, like you said, it was birthed in my brain. I was riding home from the grocery store today, and I just thought of a fun
Usually
little
when
way.
the creativity's flowing.
Yeah, just got some fun groceries at Trader Joe's, some nice filet mignons to cook up this week. But I just figured, every episode all we talk about is how good the Yankees are. Why don't we do a little draft, the four of us? Just something simple. We don't need to do like 40 people, but 3 each of your biggest X factors, biggest people you're thankful for, the people that have led us to this position that we are now. And I think it's only fitting that we do it on the day of the 50th win. And, considering we're 50-17 and the next closest team has like 22, 23 losses. So it's a historical start. We're on pace for 121 wins. I think we just need to sit back, have some fun, enjoy it, and,
Couldn't agree more.
yeah, you draft what you think has been the most important 3 things in your eyes, obviously, with what's available. And boom, there we go.
24 losses, the next team, Mets.
It's pretty good. That's 7 better by my math.
Yep.
Checks out.
We
Yeah.
are 7
Luke,
games
you're an
up
accountant?
on the MLB.
Checks out.
Okay.
I am an accountant, but I'm not very good at mental math.
That's
so,
true, actually. I'm going to keep a notes app of everybody's picks, so if you double up.
Snake draft, of course.
So, yeah, duh.
Well, how are we
Of course.
deciding?
Yeah, I thought you were going to do the thing. That was your job. That was your one job today.
All right. While you guys get the draft order ready. Speaking of drafts, great place to draft. Our favorite place to do fantasy drafts is Underdog Fantasy. We partnered with Underdog Fantasy to do a bunch of cool pick'em games and daily fantasy drafts, season long fantasy drafts. We're gonna have a little group in there. I'll send a link around to join. You can actually bet against us, which is gonna be a lot of fun. If you go to link in our bio and on social media, link in the podcast description, you can sign up for Underdog. Use our promo code 161boys. You get a $100 deposit match of Murph's money, and you can bet against us, draft against us. See if you can just drafting is always the best part. I don't know about you guys, but I love the thrill of draft day on fantasy football, fantasy baseball. But why not live it every day? Why not live the thrill to draft?
That's what
every
we're doing
single
right
day?
now.
We're doing it right now,
And we don't
So-
have to follow the results. We're just
exactly.
hanging out, drafting
So
things.
go sign up.
I'd draft
go get
everything
your
in my life
go
if I
get
could.
your deposit match, and follow on throughout the season as we do a fun little game and some pick'ems and win some money. It's good. It's fun over
There we
there.
go.
All right, want another draft order?
I would love to know the draft order.
All right, the draft order
Let me
for
see.
the first annual inaugural draft of, I don't even know what we want to call this. What do you want to call this?
The X Factor draft.
Yeah, I
X
like
Factor
that.
draft?
Yeah.
the Underdog Fantasy X Factor draft.
Oh boy,
Boom.
that's
Put that on a
put
t-shirt.
that on a billboard
Put
and a
that on a
t-shirt.
t-shirt.
I can't wait to rock that the next Yankees game.
Yeah, what the fuck are you wearing?
This is gonna be a pretty prestigious award to be the number 1 overall.
Prestigious.
The one
To me,
in the
there's a
Underdog
1-1.
on Fantasy X Factor Yankees break up the monotony of just singing the praises draft.
Okay,
All right,
so
hit us with it.
who's the draft order?
Drum roll,
Leading
please.
off in the 1-1 spot is Damon Romeo.
Give it to me,
Wow.
baby. I knew it was coming. I had a good
Then
feeling
we got
about that one.
Chandler, Murph, and then me, and then we're doing a snake draft, obviously. So it's going
of
to
course,
swing
of
back.
course.
I get 2 picks. And
That's
this is a 3-round draft, and then we'll get into the rest of the episode after that. But yeah, Damon, Romeo, you are on the clock.
I mean, it's tough not to go out there and judge first. I
Okay.
mean, the guy's putting up a historic year. He's come out for blood, MVP type year. He's carrying this entire team both on the field and off the field. we talked about him way too much. I mean, he's obviously the heart of this team right now and is carrying them both as a leader and just as a good baseball player.
And a good dude.
Good dude.
He's awesome.
An overall good dude. I think you can't.
It's his time.
Can't not pick Aaron Judge in that spot. I know we were all talking a little bit before, but didn't want to tip our hands. I don't know. Murphy clearly had an agenda coming into this draft. I don't know if that's going to stick. Being the 3 spot in this draft. I don't know if that messes with his mojo. 3 is a tough spot. 4, I like being the cleanup crew and having the back-to-backs. I know I can get one position and then the other position if I want to. Not that I'm fielding a team, but
yep, you get to pick 2 people.
Yep, that is true. Who's up next in the clock?
Me.
All right.
And I think that this one is a sneaky. I thought it could have been a sneaky number 1 pick, even over Judge, and I'm going to go with Matt Blake.
What
the fuck do you mean? No, it's an X factor. What do you mean? Yeah, you're right. Matt Blake actually hasn't had an impact at all on this team.
I thought we were doing players. They just threw an entire wrinkle into this.
I never said it was just players.
This is a little fucked up because he created this, so he knew in the back of his mind that he could steal Matt Blake at any point. You could, but my thing is, without telling us
read a text for once in your life.
Without telling us that, you knew you could get him. And honestly, I'll allow it because you didn't wait till the end of the draft just to steal him because
there's so many good players on the board. There's
Okay.
so many good players on the board.
Okay.
I just took the one non-player.
That was a very good thing to do, Chandler. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I thought it was totally fair.
All I'll say is we're playing a 3v3 v3.
What are you talking about?
Like if we're playing like these teams against each other, then it's not going to help you out.
That's fine.
I'm gonna go ahead and let Clay Holmes fall into my lap because
there you go.
In a season where our theoretical best closer in Major League Baseball, Chapman, sucks / is hurt, and then the guy that was supposed to come out of nowhere and be really good is also hurt / kind of sucked. Needed a guy like that. He came out of nowhere and is the best reliever in baseball, and I will say that over Josh Hader.
Josh Hader?
Yeah.
Okay, those are some big words.
Even after imploding tonight?
Even after he's washed up?
He's washed,
dude. Josh Hader imploded the other
You do know his ERA is 0.55 now, right?
Is that what it blew up to?
Yeah, it ballooned to 0.55.
In this economy? Jesus.
Is that still the best in the league?
Have to assume
with the innings, obviously.
He's given up 2 runs.
All right, if nobody's going to take Nestor, I'm going to take Nestor here.
Don't hate that.
I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, that's the pick here. It's certainly not going to be like Steven Ridings, although it could be if he comes back.
I have high hopes.
I'm just looking at the depth chart right now, but it's not. That was a bad example because if he comes back, he could be 1-4 in this draft over Nestor. You never know.
I doubt it.
You never know. So off the board right now, we have, just to recap round 1, if you had trouble keeping up, there I know there's a lot of picks in that round, but
all 4 of them.
Judge, who went to, had trouble keeping up.
Yep. I did. Judge, Matt Blake, Clay Holmes, Nestor.
Okay.
On to round 2.
So on to round 2, I have the pick after that. And, I'm looking around, and I think this might be a pick that could shock some people. Maybe I could have let him hang around and just snuck in and grabbed him.
You're gonna pick.
And I could potentially have grabbed him in the 3rd, but when you're drafting, you want to get your guy. And I'm gonna go with Jose Trevino
that
because
would have been my pick.
Jose Trevino, I can't sing this praise for him enough, and I said this to you guys before we got on the air. I think, obviously Matt Blake, good pick. I'll agree with you, good pick. But I just wasn't aware of the rules. You create the game, you can my ball, my rules. That's fine.
I mean, it's not a competition. We're just here to all be happy about the Yankees.
I know, but I'm just saying. Obviously, the starting pitching has been the glue. If you're going to pick one thing in this draft that was not a player or a coach or anything like that, just one position, starting pitching versus the batting order versus the relievers, all that, coaches, I'm going to pick the starting pitching. And the reason we're so successful is the starting pitching, how dominant they've been. And just going deep into games like no one else has done in the last 2 years. I think Matt Blake obviously is a big piece of that. Obviously, the players are a big piece of that as well. And this is what I've been calling for the longest time. And this is why I have hated Gary Sanchez so much. And sorry to the Gary supporters for bringing up his name again, but I'm not sorry whatsoever because I've been saying it for the longest time. I don't care if we bring in a defensive wizard behind the dish that is an automatic out. That I would not give a shit if we had that. And we have the defensive wizard, and he's not an automatic out. And he very well could have been, and he may be the all-star starting catcher, him or Alejandro Kirk.
Find him a holiday, he's going to walk it off.
Find him a holiday, find him a kid's birthday, find him his dad's birthday. He's going to walk it off. It's just, it's unbelievable. And it's a spot where we didn't really have, that was a big vacant spot after the Gary injury. And I almost feel weird talking about this in the past tense as if the season's over, because this feels like a conversation that we could be having when the season's over. But I think even if, and I don't think this is the case, I think his offense will continue to be this good. But I'm saying even if it's not this good, this is what I've been saying about the catcher position the whole time. If it's a bad offensive spot and you get the defensive wizardry that you're going to get out of him, and that's going to stay. That's not a streaky thing. Baseball's a streaky game. It's a fickle bitch, but you know the defense is going to stay and it's not going to waver. He's that guy. He's always been that guy. So I'm saying even if he regresses back to the mean and what he's been doing for his entire career offensively, that's perfectly fine with me to be the everyday starter and to be more than okay because of the way he handles the pitching staff. And I posted that video of him just stealing strikes, and we talk about it all the time. His framing is the best in the league, but you see it on an everyday basis. And when you see that highlight reel of Saturday with him and Tyone just tossing the thing, we got pitchers who's going to toss that thing, and we got a catcher who's going to receive that thing, and he's stealing strikes. I mean,
Jameis Winston.
He's literally stealing strikes, and it's art to watch. And I said this in the captions, like I can't stress enough how important this is, and I think that's a long-winded way of telling y'all why that I think this is easily the 2-1. But I think that was worth talking about because I think. And this is the whole reason why we're doing this draft, is to bring up this in a creative way. And I think this is just, I don't know. I think the way that he has been, I think it's a huge X factor. And you could honestly, of the two picks that I've selected in this fun little draft, I think you can make the argument that Jose Trevino is more important to this team than Nestor, because not an individual like this, and that's why this draft is fun, because it's not WAR. We're not looking at just WAR, which I actually think his WAR is very high. I haven't looked, but I think it, off the top of my head, is. But in an area of need, Jose Trevino fills a gap that we thought didn't exist, and it makes us even that much more complete. And like I said, Nestor Cortez is in a loaded pitching staff. If you picked one, like I said before, they're the pick you're taking at, like the one group: closers, starters, hitters. Nestor, if he wasn't there, and obviously Nestor is probably having the better year, but other guys are going to pick up the slack in that spot. Tyone, Montgomery, other potential picks in this. Garrett Cole hasn't even been picked yet. Those guys are, I just think the area of need is one big thing, and him receiving the rest of the pitching staff is just, it's different. It's different. And I think I've seen Gary get crossed up on way too many times, and I'm very happy I never have to see that happen again from a catcher. So,
good pick.
Okay.
Is that enough explanation for?
It was more than enough. I would like to
keep going.
Before Murph goes, I would like to say, to defend myself, because I didn't even get to, and you keep bringing it up, a couple things on Matt Blake. You brought up 4 times in 4 picks. I picked it second overall. You could have easily picked, like, there's plenty of time for you to still come up with something. And 2, I didn't pick something egregious like the hot dog at the stadium or something. Like, I think that's a
damn good dog.
The starting rotation.
And on top of that, you can't have
that would have been different.
You can't have I didn't pick a group of play like the infield. Like you can't have too many good things in a museum.
Short porch.
Yankees catchers.
The locker room.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
now
that would be a good pick.
Murph,
hold that one up your.
You actually can, I will allow that.
Hold that one in your back pocket.
Just whatever you got. Fire away.
No.
I'll totally
take
the locker room.
If someone wants to take the locker room, then, whatever.
We can rattle off some honorable mentions when we're done.
Go for it, Murph.
Sure. Put that as an honorable mention. I'm going to take somebody off the board a little earlier than, like Rella did. Go get your guy, whatever. I was planning on taking Cole here because I thought, he'd last this long. And congratulations, Chandler. You can take Cole, but I'm going to take JMO.
Wow, you just flipped the script on me. I thought you were saying you were going to take Cole, but you didn't.
I like that.
I'm taking J-Mo, and it's just because Cole, I think, is doing what he's paid to do, what he's expected to do. And when J-Mo came in, we didn't know how healthy he was going to be and how effective he was going to be, even if he was healthy. And he has been outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pitched, not updated because obviously it changed after today because Cole threw. But before today, he had the most innings pitched in the starting rotation.
That's interesting.
And he's 8-1.
Good
so
stat.
like,
I was going to take him
two.
next, actually,
well, then
it was a good
I
pick.
apologize.
No, I'm saying that's a good pick. You were saying you thought it was a stretch. I was letting you know it's a good pick.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I think the big thing is that, he's 8-1, which you can say that, Domingo had 17 wins a couple years ago and the Yankees are slugging. So like, fine. But he also has, I don't know what his ERA is, top of my head. 140 ERA plus. So that's great. Whatever. But the 73.1 innings is a big thing. Like, he's healthy and he's dealing.
He's giving us length.
And
which is the biggest. I mean, we had a lot of people go down in the bullpen, which, again, credit to Matt Blake. As you were saying, he's getting our pitchers to get some length. We're getting things that we haven't gotten in years from the staff, from the bullpen, everything. Absolutely love that pick, Murph.
And I think we were kind of talking about this off air about this draft. Is like, is this just going to be your MVP draft? Because obviously you take the guys with like the highest WAR, and that's no fun. But like, also like, get your guy. I mean, I just think it's a lot of the expectation versus reality, like you were talking about before, Murph. Is that, did you really think? And I think you touched on that already with Cole. You expected to go out there and do what you're paid to do, and I think the extra benefit we're getting from the team as a whole, as we expect these guys to do these things, if they're going to go out and do that thing, Garrett Cole deal like he did today. And Tyone can come in and be this guy that, like, Tyone has been a legitimate 2 starter on this team. I think if the season ended today, is that unfair to say that I would like? It's a real conversation between him and Nestor to be the 2. I mean, Tyone's been.
Sevy.
I would take Tyone over Sevy.
We've got 1-1 who is Garrett
I think
Cole.
it would.
I think we have one, and the reason that this is such a good rotation is that we have a 1. We have Garrett Cole. He's an ace. And then we have like 2.
We have 3 2s.
And 2. Yeah, you could say 2 2s, 2 3s, or 3 2s and 1, whatever. However you want to put that. Like, nobody's a 4. And
we have 4 2.5s.
Yes. And I think I don't know if you're specifically what you're calling Monty, but I feel like he's a good
Monty,
3. He's a very good 3. He's a top flight 3, I think.
I agree.
Is a fun way to put that.
If you rank him that way, then he's the lowest of that tier. Like, nobody, not by much, and that's not a slight at Monty, but nobody is below a mid 3.
Yeah.
He's a high 3. Sevy's a high 3 to low 2. Nestor's,
I would say Sevy's a high 2.
Then say Sevy's a high 2, but so is Nestor, and then so
Nestor could be a 1. I think you can make the argument. I never mind.
I don't know.
I think 1 we reserve to be ace. Aces are 1s. Yeah. That's Scherzer.
A true bona fide
Scherzer,
ace.
DeGrom, that's Cole, that's Corbin Burns, that's those guys. Sorry if I missed your name. I don't know. but
to all the aces out there listening. The Logan Webbs of the world.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I don't know, and I think you can make the argument for a lot of people to be the number 2 guy on this team because they all are number 2s. But I don't know. I've been extremely impressed. Great pick, Murph, with Tyone, because I don't know. He's been great. I wanted to look into his numbers since he's joined the Yankees, and I'll look those up on the side while you guys are picking. But I can imagine that since he's come to the Yankees via trade, I think he's been. I was gonna say as advertised, but he's been way massively better than advertised, I think. He's
been what he was drafted to be.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think but that's way loftier of an expectation than what we had coming in.
We wanted a solid 3.
Because he's a guy who just beat cancer. He's a guy who
two
Tommy Johns. Like, as much as you pull for a guy, you can't expect what he's been doing. And he's really proven. I wouldn't even want to say proven wrong, because I don't think anybody thought he wasn't gonna do something like this. It's hard to expect something like that from 2 injuries and 1 cancer. It's crazy. It's just tip the fucking cap to him, and I cannot wait to see what he continues to do, and if he can.
I'm excited to see him in October.
If he can twirl that thing in October, I was about to say so.
Yep. All right. Everybody ready?
Yep. Let's hear it.
I'm not going to go Garrett Cole. Okay. I'm going to say big Tony Rizzo.
I was going to pick him if you
That was
fell.
my next pick.
I mean, look at the guy. Everybody loves him. He's got handshakes with Joey Gallo. Him and, you got Rizzo. We were talking about Rizzo. They're best friends. Dude's on pace for 46 home runs. He's playing Gold Glove defense. He's got the walk-off home run the other night. Maybe it's recency bias. Maybe it's not, but he's got the walk-off home run. He came in. He had the big pin. He came in rocking glasses and a hoodie yesterday and then turned into, like we were saying, this team doesn't have any quit. He comes in off the bench cold in the 8th, hits a nuke. Boom. And then, the game comes down to him again in the 9th, and he doesn't get it done, but he puts up a damn good at bat, and he puts the ball in play. How many times in years past have we had that same situation come up, and, you get down in the count, down 0-2, 1-2, whatever it was, and it's just a strikeout. We've been talking about all year his approach to the plate. He takes an actual pro approach, and he's choking up on the bat. He's putting the ball in play. He's doing the things that he has to do. I see you waving over there. Give me 1 second. He's doing the things that he has to do to score runs and to even making his outs productive outs. He's not just up there taking meaningless at bats. He's putting thought into it. He's doing something with every at bat, something productive, even if it's an out. Mm-hmm. Go, Murph.
I just wanted to mention this before we got off track from his approach, because I know there's a lot of other things to mention about him. But if you watch his home run today, 2-2 count, first at bat of the game, and he's choked up about halfway on the bat, and he still hits it out.
Yeah.
That's something that not a lot of people do in the MLB anymore, and that's something that
That's something that they tell you as a kid. Your home runs, and obviously this changes, and this isn't the fucking approach as a pro baseball player. I know that, but I'm saying there's a reason. There's some truth to it when you're growing up and you're learning how to play baseball, and you're going through the different stages. That you have coaches that are like, yeah, your home run should be mistakes. To some degree, that's true. He knows when to take his lashes and stuff like that. But the ball today that he's choked up, he's not trying to hit a home run there. He's trying to do a job with 2 strikes and put the ball in play and hit it somewhere hard. That's just something you got to respect from the guy. And that's a point I made last summer when the name loosely went around the rumor mill. We were like, surely we're not going to get Anthony Rizzo. Why would we get Anthony Rizzo? Mm-hmm. It was a 19-pitch at bat that ended in a choked up home run against the Cardinals to take the lead. And I will never forget watching that at bat. I was like, holy shit, man. This is something that this team could desperately need, especially last year, to jumpstart an offense that they weren't seeing pitches. They weren't taking competitive at bats. It was, 2-3 pitches, lazy balls in play, ugly strikeouts. This is a guy that he changes the entire approach to that lineup just by having other people around him watching him what he's doing. I don't know. It changed the whole dynamic of the team. You got a guy on second base rather than a strikeout or a pop-up. You have a guy that's willing to put it on the ground, move him to third. And that's the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he does it night in and night out.
Yep.
And when you see a guy doing it successfully, it sends a message to the rest of the order as well.
Yep. Well, one thing I do want to say, too, is that I was going to pick him next if you didn't pick him right there.
And, too bad, bitch.
And one of the main reasons that I wanted to pick him, because especially this draft is supposed to be like X factors for the season so far. So he was really the main driving force of the momentum that we gained in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
He really was the guy who set the tone right from the beginning. He was on fire in the beginning of the season. He was the Yankees offense. He was winning us games single-handedly. He was carrying the team both on the field and off the field. He was the guy on the Yankees for the first month. And that set the tone for, I think, the rest of the season so far. And I think that's just one of those things that I guess is not going to go overlooked, but I guess
when you're playing the way you are now, it gets buried.
It gets buried to see, okay, this guy really helped us start the season hot and now is getting us to where we are today. And now is still helping.
That's why when he went through that slump and he made the not list, and I was one of the people that advocated for him to be on the not list, and did he deserve it at the time? Yes. Stat-wise, he did. But even then, and we talked about it at that time, I don't think that's going to last. It's not. He's one of our hottest hitters right now. Mm-hmm. We all said it. We don't think this is going to last. He's too good, and his approach at the plate is too good to hit that poorly. So, and even then, he's still having those productive outs. And at the end of the day, he's still playing that platinum glove defense every day, regardless of how his bat is that particular day. And regardless of what it shows up on the stat sheet, he's doing something productive to help the team. There's no day that he shows up to the ballpark and it's like, well, that was a fucking waste of space. Like, and I'm going to use Aaron Hicks here. And I know he had a great, the triple that he pimped off the wall today.
You going to pick him in this draft?
Fuck no, I'm not going to pick him in this draft. But I mean, he's had some big moments in the last couple of weeks. Yes, he's still on the sun for anybody wondering, and he's not coming off anytime soon. But like, there's days where, and like I said, I'm just using Aaron Hicks. He's top of that. There's days that he shows up and he provides fucking nothing. He's making dumb outs on the bases. He's not putting up productive at bats. He's not playing well in the field. He's loafing to balls. He's lobbing it in. There's no days off like that for Rizzo. And you can't say that you can say that for some people in Major League Baseball, but not a lot where there's not a play that he takes off. Everything is balls to the wall. I don't know. I love that guy. And I think that he is a huge, huge driving force to this team.
Yeah. 8 home runs in March or in June.
Is that good?
I believe that is good.
Yeah, also, it's crazy to look up. He has 19 home runs right now.
He had 7 in April.
Yeah, 7 in April and half a month basically. Well, not half, but and then 8 this month. I would venture to say that with the exception of maybe some of the really old guys that are still active in the MLB, there's probably not anybody more respected than Anthony Rizzo.
I would agree with that.
Major League Baseball, like with the exception of Miggy, Pujols,
he does everything right.
Those two, like I feel like he's just that guy. Like they still love him in Chicago. My buddy was here today from Chicago, telling me that still a bar outside Chicago called Rizzo's, and I don't know whether
you remember when he left Chicago. They lined the streets for him to wish him goodbye. Yeah,
absolutely. And
they love that guy.
They still do.
How could you not, man? He stuck through the shit in Chicago to win a World Series there.
Yeah, and that too. He's everything about him. He's a lovable guy. This, that, the third. But he also
another cancer
survivor.
Another
cancer survivor too. Yeah. But he also won a World Series too. So like you get the game. They like the accolade respect for somebody like that. Like say what you want about Mike Trout being such a great player, but some people, Mike Trout haters, would be like, oh, he never won a ring or he's played like one playoff game, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like he's got it all. He's got the full
big
package,
game pedigree,
and he's just
be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Probably not.
No, but is he a guy that can be the glue that brings an entire locker room together and creates potentially a championship team? Like that is more valuable to me right now than having another guy who's going to stuff the stat sheet on his own. I think that his impact to the team is well beyond the stat sheet.
Yep.
That's a quote graphic right there.
Damon,
you're up.
Snake Trap.
The clock is on you.
You got 2, unless you want to do another a recap of the round.
I'm aware. Thank you.
So this is it, right? He's got 2 and then me?
Yeah. No. 2. No, me and Murph both have a pick.
Your last pick, buddy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, sit on the bench, pal.
That's how a snake draft works. I'm going to go, well, since I had 2 picks, this isn't really in order, but I'm going to definitely go with Glaber.
You fucker.
I didn't think he was going to go, and I was going to be upset, so good pick.
Glaber is showing promising signs of his 2019 season. And right now he's got, we were kind of always like worried that he kind of lost his pop after that season. He only hit, 9 home runs in 2021. He hit, 9 home runs in 2021, and he hit 3 in 2020. Obviously a shortened season, and he hit 38 in 2019. So he's on pace to hit a little over 30 home runs this year. So he's kind of showing those signs in 2019, getting his pop back. He's hitting for pretty good average right now. He's been pretty solid in the field. He's been honestly pretty spectacular base running wise, and just like hustling and stealing bases, and just like overall being kind of like the Gleyber Torres that we were promised when he was originally came up. And Yeah, I mean, like he's one of those guys in the beginning of the season where just like if he kind of pulls it together and if he starts having a better season, he starts getting his pop back, then it's really going to turn this whole lineup around because that's another guy we can just trust. And just last thing on him is that he's been clutch as fuck this whole season. We've had 7 walk-offs so far. He's had 2 of them. And
he has the most since he's entered the league.
And he's had most since entered the league. And he just has
in the entire MLB.
And he just has a lot of just like clutch hits that are not walk-offs too. Like he's just always coming up in the big spots, the big moments. And I can't say enough about him right now and the seasons he's having. And he's really just kind of been a huge part of this team so far, even though he's not, leading the stat sheet in all of these different categories in the team right now. But he's, again, showing signs of what he used to be, and it's just becoming, a big part of this lineup.
No, and this is the player, and I wanted to bring. I'm very upset because that's a very good pick, but it's very good that we bring it up because
that was my pick. Too.
Gleyber, it was going to be all right. So I was never going to get him, but so regardless, I wanted to talk about him a ton, and I put this in the Slack to even just have a whole segment to talk about Gleyber because I do feel like we say all the time throughout this season specifically that because Gleyber he wasn't really great last year. He hit 259, 243 the year before that 2020 shortened season. But, since 2019, he hasn't really been great and he's had his ups and downs. He's showed lack of effort and this, that, and the third. Like, I think we've said it before this season, like, oh, we jokingly is Gleyber back. I genuinely believe that he's back now to that 2019 form. And I think we talked about that in his roll call before the season started. It's like, are we ever going to get that guy back? And we all said I cannot, and we all said no.
We never said no to wrote him off, but we're like, he'll never return to 2019. Like he'll still be productive.
Especially with the pop. I think that's what we were more emphasizing. And he's on pace to hit 30 plus 4-ish home runs. I mean, give or take, whatever you want to call it. It's hard to do the math now because we're beyond the exact 1/3 points. You can't just multiply by 3, but he's got 13 home runs right now through 60 games played.
I did the math. It's like
34 to 36, whatever. But he's got the pop clearly. I mean, the last season, the big thing that we were talking about is his home runs. He had 9 home runs in 2021. And he had 3 home runs in 2020, shortened season. But that's ridiculously low compared to his 38 home runs in 2019 and his 24 home runs in 2018 as a rookie. I mean, it's ridiculous, but he's fully got the pop back. But I was never more so worried about the pop. We said this before, is like, are we going to just be watching this teammates quietly having a fantastic season? Are we going to look up and one day he randomly has a 275 batting average? Because at the time, I think he was batting like 240 or something, which, like I said, is on par with his bad seasons. And he's batting 267 before today's game. I think he's probably over 270 now after today.
I think he had a hit or two today.
He's got his best OPS plus for his career, albeit it's 60 games right now, but he's got a 139 OPS plus. Even in 2019, he had a 128 OPS plus and 122 in his rookie year in 2018. He just... And the biggest thing for me too is he looks confident. He looks like he's back to being that swagger Gleyber, and I think
like he's having fun again.
And
too.
I think
he
needed
miserable.
Yeah, and I think he needed a little bit of those lulls. Obviously, he's still 25. He's 25 right now. I'm 25. Like that's got a lot of life left in me, and I think he's got a lot of life left in him. I think it might be a little late for me to make my debut to the majors. Maybe not. We'll see.
Never too late to
Never
follow
too
your
late
dreams.
today. I looked pretty good in Central Park, shagging some ground balls. Got a couple wows from some fellows in the field.
That's not true.
I got one wow. But Gleyber
You
Torres.
remember when we had Eric on before the season? He was talking about, he needed to be... Not needed to be, but he kind of got humbled after.
That's what I was trying to get.
He was like,
lull, I think, made him a better player.
He blew up too fast, is what he's saying. Which it's a convenient excuse, whatever. Not making an excuse, but he blew up too fast and didn't handle it well. I think that's the best way of putting it without trying to make it sound like an excuse. He rose to superstardom at 22 years old. He was this playoff hero, and then it kind of got to his head. And the last couple of years, the position change on top of that. And he just kind of crumbled. I think he's way more comfortable at second base. He has, 7 defensive runs saved already? Maybe more since the last time that I looked at it. He's playing damn good defense. He's hitting the ball well. He's doing a lot of the little things. Like you said, he's hustling again. You're not seeing Judge having to pull him to the side like, hey, man, let's fucking get it together. These aren't recurring themes like they were in years past. So I don't know.
No, I agree. I think he's always been that 22-year-old phenom who's number one prospect in baseball, comes up, immediately plays well, and he's clutch. He was always he's been clutch since he entered the league. That's never changed even in his bad years, but he's always been that clutch guy, and that goes to your head, and then you start not hustling, and then you become like a lot of comparisons were thrown to him and like Robbie Cano because he's the second baseman. He's not hustling, he's clutch, and he's a good, pure hitter. It's just like, I don't know. I do think having a couple bad years in there, 1.5 because of the shortened season, like really maybe. I mean, it's the mental side of things. Baseball is it's a mental game, and you need to have mental fortitude to be good in this league. And I obviously he's got a lot of years left in front of him, and he's got an entire 2/3 of a year to finish out here and be good. But I think I've seen enough that I can say that confidently that I think that Gleyber is back, and I think
Aaron Judge deserves some credit on this because he's a guy that pulled him aside time after time after time and really got on his case. And I think that kind of humbled him when you have the leader, the kind of quiet leader of this team, especially in, and I say darker days, relatively speaking, like last year with such high expectations. They did not play well the entire year. Outside of that 13-game win streak, they were not a good team. And we saw it in the playoffs. They lost the wild card game. 2021 was a bad year. And, say what you want, we're spoiled, whatever. It was a bad year. It just was. That's relative to expectations. It was not good. And you see Aaron Judge pulling him to the side in years like this. Like, dude, you got to get your shit together. You are one of the people that they're building this team around. You have got to pull your head out of your ass. And I think that finally resonated with him. And I think that, I don't know. I think Aaron Judge has a lot to play in Gleyber Torres' success, and we'll never know about it, and we'll never see it, and I'm totally just speculating. But when Gleyber was down, he was playing like shit. He was making bonehead errors at short, at second, doing everything, seemingly lazy or wrong from just all these stupid fucking things. Who's the one guy that's always sitting next to him in the dugout talking to him? Aaron Judge, for years now. And yeah. I don't know. I just think a little bit of credit to him
on the team. Yeah, Aaron Judge is that. He's the captain that we're.
But tomorrow's his arbitration day, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't even.
That's the hearings.
Is it?
I think so.
I haven't heard anything about it.
I haven't either.
Maybe he'll have an extension by tomorrow by the time people are listening to this episode. But yeah, can't say enough about it. I hope we're not sitting here in October and he's just regressed completely. Benched. But I don't think that I think really I've seen enough that he has the confidence back. I'd be blown away if he regresses back to 2021 Gleyber, and it's so fun because having him back is having a ridiculous like bona fide stud on the team. We were talking, who would you build a team around for the next 10 years, Gleyber Torres or Aaron Judge? And all of us, I think across the board, picked Gleyber Torres over Aaron Judge because of how young he is and the health too. Because the potential health issues that Judge at the time was facing, obviously he hasn't, knock on wood, he hasn't been hurt since, and I think we've debunked that he's injury prone. I think just it's fun to have that conversation again. I still, obviously, the year that Judge is having, the player that Judge is, and the lack of injuries, I think if we had that conversation again, we would build the team obviously around Aaron Judge, and I think that's what they're going to be doing. Hopefully, if they extend him by tomorrow when you guys listen to this episode. But it is fun that a cornerstone player, and I think I can use that word. I think he's back to being a cornerstone of this team. Is that fair to say?
I would say so. Mm-hmm. Damon, final player. Round out this team strong.
I have a very tough decision. I'm in between two people right now.
I can tell you that it's probably the same two that I'm waiting to see which one falls in my lap.
I don't think so. I don't think these two people are really like on the radar, but I don't really want to pick Cole. Like, he's like the ace. Like, not a lot talked about him right now. And like,
I mean,
at some point,
you pick Judge 1-1. What do you mean?
I know, but like, yeah, but Judge is having a historic season.
Cole's having a pretty damn good year. I think a lot of people are writing him off.
I'm not writing Garrett Cole off. I'm saying he's an ace. He's doing a damn good job.
Make your pick.
Whatever. All right. All right, I'm making my decision. So for this
eager to hear it.
This probably isn't like, this guy isn't having like statistically the most amazing season, but I think he has been a huge part of how this season has gone so far and how this team is built and has allowed this team to win as much as they have because of his versatility, and that's DJ LeMahieu.
I like that.
He's a
I'm
guy.
mad that you picked him, but I'm really glad someone picked him.
I want him to get some recognition. That's why I picked him. Like, he's playing second base. He's playing third base. He's playing some first base as well, and he's allowing guys like Josh Donaldson, IKF, and Glaber to play the games they need to play, get the rest they need to get rest, and yeah, he's just a big part of how this lineup has been able to move around and has allowed Aaron Boone to make these lineup changes and make these position changes and really has just allowed this team to kind of thrive. And also, he's a good hitter, so that also helps. And playing Gold Glove in the field. So, yeah, I think outside of the stats, he's just been a massive part of allowing Aaron Boone to construct the lineup the way he wants to and allowing us to win baseball games because of that.
Can't argue with that.
I wasn't sold on the first pick, but I think the way you went about it, I think that's it's a good pick. Because the flexibility, the flexibility that he provides Boone and getting everybody in the lineup every single day. It's actually, and I guess that's another thing. Credit to Boone for being able to. We don't give a lot of credit to Boone in seemingly in these past few years, but I think Boone's had a damn good year this year. Hard to argue with that when you have 50 wins.
Yeah,
and
without DJ LeMahieu, Hicks and Gallo are playing every night.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the ripple effect of DJ LeMahieu and his versatility you can't beat that. So
I'm happy with it, Damon. I'm glad you picked him.
Yeah, I was planning on picking him for the exact same reason, and I'm very glad you did because I was going to also be deciding between him and somebody else.
Yeah.
Hopefully Chandler doesn't take right now because I'll be sad.
Man, see, now here I'm at a crossroads because Garrett Cole needs to be picked. That needs to happen. But, when I'm thinking of X Factor.
Just because he has to be picked doesn't mean you need to pick him.
I'm not going to.
Okay. All right. I think I know who you're going to pick.
I think it's criminal he hasn't been picked.
Can I tell you who I think you're going to pick?
Yeah, Miguel Andujar.
It's not Miguel
I'm
Andujar.
taking Mike King.
I think you're going to take Sevy.
I am going to take Sevy.
Yeah.
And you know I'm going to take
Sevy guy.
I am a big Sevy guy, but I'm not taking him just because he's returned to form because he's still looking at obviously it's relatively speaking our staff's just absolutely fucking dominant, but it's not so much that he's this Cy Young candidate right now, and you know what, he probably is somewhere on the odds that's relatively high up, but he's giving us length in a season that we were talking about before the year. Is he going to be a reliever? He's giving us 7 innings pretty routinely. Like, look at his game log. Take out last game, which is an outlier, but even last game, and his ERA is a whopping 3.26, but it's inflated a little bit like last game. 5 innings. He's got 5 earned runs. He left with 2. He left with 3, which were bullet home runs, which, you know what? He throws 100 miles an hour. It's going to happen. He gave up 2 hits. They were both home runs. Walked a couple guys.
Hit 103 too. Don't forget about that.
Supposedly. I don't
think the radar gun was broken.
Yeah, the radar gun was a little cooked. But, I mean, look at his few starts. 5 earned runs, whatever. That was the Miguel Castro come in, walk the fucking moon, and then give up a grand slam. Yes, they're charging him, but whatever. But the game before that, even last game, 9 strikeouts. He had 4 walks, but he gave up 3 hits. The game before that, 6 innings, 7 hits, which not great, but he got through it. He gave up 1 run, struck out 10, walked 1. 7 innings, 1 hit, 10 Ks, 1 walk. I mean, 7 innings.
The biggest thing to me is the innings.
Yeah, he's throwing 6-7 innings. He hasn't pitched in 2 years.
He has 66 innings pitched on the season, and that's just a lot of innings for a guy that we didn't even think. I mean,
like I said, what did we set his over under at 100?
I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but
he and Tyone both were around there. I think we had them combined for like 250 or something.
And Tyone, has just. It's crazy. I think the innings thing is and that goes for across the entire starting rotation. Is the craziest thing to me, and it's crazy because it's a big flip the script for what this team has done in the past, and these are the same pitchers. Like, these pitchers couldn't get out of the 5th inning. They couldn't.
Exactly.
And now they're going minimum 7, it seems, every single night.
And you know what? Here's the thing, too, that I'm going to say that kind of slams it home for me. We were talking about, obviously it's up to this point, but going forward, this is a guy that hasn't pitched since, 2018. He's thrown like 11 innings since then coming into this season. He's giving us this length. There's rust there still, but the stuff is there. You have games like yesterday, right, where he walks 4 batters. But I don't think it's crazy to think by the end of the year that he's fully back to dominant, borderline ace level pitching. He's shaking off rust after not throwing for 3 years. This is like the equivalent of Jameson Taillon doing what he's doing now last year when he comes back. And not the total equivalent, because, the guy obviously has battled everything you can ever fucking imagine. I'm not comparing it in that sense. I'm just saying, as far as time away from the game, Severino hadn't pitched since 2018. He's out. There's going to be rust inevitably, which is why he walks people. He loses his command a little bit. You can't get in a groove if you don't pitch for 3 years. No shit. He's coming out there and he's doing this. And I think that a full season under Matt Blake, I think a full season around the people that he's with, Garrett Cole, you see him out there every game talking to the starters, Jordan Montgomery, Michael King, who learned from Corey Kluber. You've got all these guys that work together every single day, and they're giving each other tips. They're doing everything that they can possibly do, and that all goes back to the locker room stuff that we talk about day in and day out here. I don't think it's crazy to think that he's back to borderline ace. He's that 1B that we were always talking about when we signed Cole. Now we have 2 aces. I genuinely believe by October that will be the case. And I think that this start right here is everything we could have asked for and then more.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, hard to argue with. I mean, I look at his Baseball Savant page, and it's a lot of red. I mean, that's good to see, the sabermetrics. I mean, they've always agreed with Sevy, but it's nice to see that he's back to his dominant ways, it seems. And I agree. I don't think that it's crazy to say that he can be just that bona fide stud pitcher that's going to go out there and it's going to be curtains for you. Like it's like, oh God, Sevy's pitching today. That's not a good thing to wake up to as an opposing fan in a playoff series. Like,
I think if we rolled in
and think about that too, like game 3,
if we rolled into the ALCS to play the Astros right now, and Sevy trotted out game 2 or game 3, either way, I would feel very confident. There would not be 1 ounce of hesitation in me watching him take that mound. I would feel just as confident as, maybe not Cole, but I'd have just as much confidence in him as anybody else in that staff not named Garrett Cole.
And when you talk about X factors, like we were talking about before, we've mentioned it on his roll call throughout the season. He is like the definition of it, because I mean, you get a guy. Like I said before, I don't know what day he'll be pitching, and we're gonna have this conversation towards the playoffs, because you don't do a 5-man rotation in the playoffs. Somebody's gonna get thrown into the pen. We don't know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be probably Montgomery. If the season ends today, Montgomery would be in the pen. And don't they usually do a 3-man rotation? At least
it depends in a short
number of series.
Depends how good your rotation is. That's the thing.
But you want to get Cole start. You want to get Cole to turn over.
It also depends on where you are in the series. If you're up 3-0, you're not going to force Cole out on 3 days rest. It's just it's a number of factors.
A lot more pitchers anyway.
We're not going to be in a position in the playoffs where we're going to want to have a 4-person rotation, or at least maybe even a 5. Because who's the odd man out? Do you really want? Maybe the rest is a factor. Maybe you have Cole go every 4, but then you have somebody else rotate in here and there. And it's the playoff series, change whatever, and who knows about health. But this is a way different Yankees team than we've seen going to the playoffs before. Because it's usually, wow, I really wish we could have Cole go out 3 times in a row.
Yeah,
but now it's different.
Well, to your point,
it's a good problem to have.
Who gets to pitch today?
To your point about the X factor, though, it's such a swing factor with Sevy, because he has his floor is reliever, just another guy that didn't really cut it. Injuries derailed him, but his ceiling is an ace, and we were expecting somewhere in between. But he's hitting closer to that ace, and that is fucking huge.
I mean,
that is huge.
If you think about it too, like what he's doing this season is way ahead of schedule. So like I'm excited to see what it turns out to be at the end of the year. I think if I was a betting man and I bet on underdog fantasy, and I would, and I talked about it in our chalkboard group chat, gambling group chat I would probably take Luis Severino to, like, if we're talking like
we're buying tickets to that game.
I'd buy him on TickPick. I don't like fees. So I'm just saying, long-winded way of saying, if I was going to take and I don't think this is the case, but like if you're taking something with good odds, like dark horse Cy Young, he's not going to win it. But like Severino's probably got some juicy odds on him. And I think the way that he's progressing, he's way ahead of schedule. Like I was saying, like he's going to finish way higher in the Cy Young vote than I think anybody even would think that he would. Like right now at this point in the season, he's kind of an afterthought when you think about other pitchers in the league. And I think he's gonna burst on the scene because of the way he's progressed so far, and he's only gonna get better, assuming he doesn't get hurt. Which obviously
he's
everybody
50 to
hopes
1
that's not
right
the
now.
case. 50 to 1. I think he finishes like towards the end of the season, like when things are wrapping up around September area. I think you're gonna see him at probably like 25 to 1. I think he's gonna split that in half, and I think that's I don't know. I that's not a crazy thing to say, but I'm just saying I think he's gonna keep progressing. That was a long way of saying I think he's gonna keep progressing, and the best
10?
is yet to come. He could.
It wouldn't shock me.
I don't know.
Look at how well he's doing and how much he's exceeding expectations right now, and he's still 50 to 1. I mean, he's not going to be top 10. He's having a fantastic
but
year.
Voters don't care about the odds.
No, I was just saying that he's going to finish better respected across the league in terms of how dominant he is than he is currently getting respect for right now. So,
okay.
So I guess it's my pick.
Chris Sale, 250 to 1.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not my pick. That's
sit back
cool.
down, man.
I'm eager.
Yep. Does it have to be a person, Chandler?
No.
No, it doesn't.
No, anything that you think has been a swing factor this year, the only thing that is off limits is being like, fielders.
Cool. I'm going to, Rel, I hope you wanted Cole because somebody has to say Cole. But, and I was going to say Cole.
Are you taking Cole?
Off of my head? No, I'm taking
Yes, I
Magic
want
the
Cole.
Mustache.
I respect that. I'm totally cool with that.
Yep.
Just the mustache, no explanation needed.
The magic of the mustache, just the mustache, whatever you want, because
It's a movement.
it's gonna. We need a thing. You need a thing to make it. We need a thing. It seems like it's happening. Gallows growing it in. Looked like Donaldson
Gallows looks
growing it
nice.
in. Lickies is in now.
Oh yeah.
Marwin, Nestor, Cart. Maybe not everybody does it, but if it's a thing, I love it. And just for what it stands for, at the very least.
Yeah.
It's not the mustache, it's what it stands for.
Yeah.
Licky's going to come in and start throwing 98 miles an hour.
It's the man behind the stash, but the stash is, it's a big factor.
I love that.
I'd say it's an X factor.
I would call it a fact.
I agree, but
I'm totally okay with the mustache. That plays.
yeah, but to be clear, you just took like facial hair over Garrett Cole, and
Well,
I stand by it.
You weren't going to say it, Rella, and it needed to be said.
that's true. That know your fellow podcasters and way to get the content out there, Murphy. I agree. You do need a thing, and I think of all the things, if we're comparing the things that we've had in the past, like the thumbs down, whatever the hell they're doing on second base right now with the
cradling the baby
circle, and then they cradle it. Like we came to the conclusion that we think that the cradle thing is like they do the circle, but then Rizzo, when he was on first or second, he started cradling it at the bottom of the circle. So I think Chandler, you said,
Oh yeah, I was thinking. It was right after a laser single and it was Donaldson. No, it was Rizzo.
it was
I don't know,
Rizzo.
but I was thinking like the "I'm your daddy" kind of thing to the
And
pitcher.
I think we should run with that. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, why not?
We'll start a rumor. I'm down to start a rumor.
I mean, what else could that? Literally, what else could that possibly be?
I'll start a rumor.
I'm down.
That's what it means.
Yeah,
Until proven otherwise, they're not going to tell us.
It's not like
they never
my
tell
wife is
people
with
these
child. Like we're all just gonna do that on first.
things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like
I'm
it.
gonna roll with it.
But looking back to things of the past, I can't even remember more.
Thumbs down is the last one.
Thumbs down's the only one I can really remember.
We did that
Next
jacket
topic, you
thing
wanna
for
say
a
that?
day,
That
and
was-
then we ruined it because we
What did you
lost.
say, Murph?
Yeah, we blew a 10-run lead.
Yeah.
Thanks,
the next
Chad
man
Green.
up thing was kind of a thing, but
That was a thing.
Yeah, but that's not
That
like
wasn't a tangible thing.
That wasn't a
it's not
fun
a
thing. That
tangible
was like
thing.
a
There was
shit.
the
We have no
savages.
player. Like that was
It
us
was like
grasping at
there
straws
was-
because we like, all of our players went down and we're still
No, the
winning.
first-
Like
originally,
suck it,
when
idiots.
was the actual next man up.
I know,
We
but
tried
I'd
to hang on
ra-
to it the next year, but it was. And then we had the let Brett bang kind of thing. and
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
the savages in the box thing. And
see, all of the thumbs
been a
down. The thumbs down was fun because it was off the fans.
That
So that was
2017
really
team
fun.
was really fun.
And
we
that
were
team
winning.
was
That's why it
fun.
was different.
I think the thing gets amplified with the team, obviously, and this
Yeah.
team's great. But the next man up was fun the first time. The second year was just sad because it happened again, and and it was us just being like, you know what, we don't even need our starters. Our next man up
Yeah,
2
you
years
know.
in a row are gonna be great. Didn't end up that way. Sorry to say, but I personally, the things that we have when our starters are on the field, facial hair on the people that are good on the field, albeit most of the bad players or the lower on the totem pole players are the ones with the rock and stashes, Marwin, Licky, Matt
Don't even
Carpenter.
say Matt Carpenter on the lower totem pole.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I mean, Joey Gallo, it has been great. I mean, I'm just like, but it is nice to see that it's not a injury related thing.
Yeah, we're not rallying around
We're not
injuries.
rallying around being shitty at health.
The most hurt team.
Yeah.
you're
plus.
the thing matters a lot how good the team's doing, because if we're just losing and growing out mustaches, that's not fun.
Yeah, like the Orioles are doing a turnover chain, but like, come on,
You don't think it's so like
come on, guys.
you know, like really depressing. Like I look
Win
at
a
the
game.
I look at the Red Sox and like they had that cart thing that you push him
even when they were bad.
It's like they're down, like, you know, they're losing by 20 runs. They're losing by 20 runs, 2 touchdowns. They're like in the bottom of the division, and they have to do it because someone hit a home run.
You're right.
It's
Like, but you can't turn it off.
You can't turn it off.
Once you turn that faucet on, it's gonna keep running. You can't just be like, all right, well, we're losing.
I think
so we can't do the thing anymore.
I think we were beating the Red Sox like 10-1 or something like that, and they hit a home run.
I think Bobby Dahlback.
And they still did it. I'm like, oh, this is just depressing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It's
so.
But you
I
do,
think I
you
feel
do
for
still
him.
have to do it.
You
Like,
still have to do it.
if you want
and-
to make the thing a thing, still,
Yeah, you have
can't-
to do
It'll go
it.
away if you don't. That's why I think ours is the best of both
It's like happy
worlds.
medium.
Because even when we suck, what are we gonna do? Shave it in the middle of the inning? Like, no, you just keep
Yeah.
the
No, you
mustache
shave it. Well,
is gonna stay.
it's a symbol too. Like if you suck, you shave the mustache. Like it's the end of an era. Now we need to mix up the luck. Like you were kind to us. Now
Yeah.
we're the team with no mustaches again, other
Yeah.
than Nestor.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. Good pick, Murph. Because I'm gonna take Garrett Cole, and that's just
I'm
because
glad
he's
you did. He has to be on
he's. I still think he's gonna win Cy Young this year.
On the night he took a no hitter to the eighth, he went
yeah,
last pick.
that's-
Mr. Irrelevant.
You would think that he just got shelled, and I don't know. I mean, you look at his. Do I have to explain why I'm picking Cole, or can I just say
No,
that
he should have been
No.
a first rounder. Like
Should've been
theoretically.
that
one of the, one of the first picks?
I was full blown ready to take him third.
I was ready to take him in the second, and I just keep thinking of people that.
I mean, he's
like,
got.
No one picked my other person I was going to pick.
who?
And could I guess who that was?
Mike
'Cause
King?
is
It was
King?
Mike King, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
King is
he's
good.
kind of
Also,
fell off
Monty-
a touch.
Monty
I know,
deserves
but
to be
I
on
know he's
there.
fell off a touch. But again, the purpose of this draft was like, you know, the X factor to this point in the season so far, and we kind of can't forget how big he was in the bullpen in the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
Still is
you're right.
very, very good.
No, I'm not saying he's bad either. He's one of the we're going to do a trust tree when a couple of the other fellows come back, so we can really see where this everything lies, because that'll throw a couple wrinkles in there. I think King's still up there. I mean, when he gets up in the pen,
Bless you, Murphy.
I tried to mute myself. Sorry.
I wanted
Oh my
to take.
God.
I wanted to draft health.
Don't say that. That's the jinx.
It's jinx.
I didn't do it.
You just said you believed in jinx, and you were superstitious.
It's
Oh
an
my
X
God.
factor
We
to
just-
this point. I
We
can't.
just finished talking about how the next man
can't-
up hasn't showed up, and
I can't retroactively hurt somebody. I said it's X factors to
well,
this
Glaber
point.
was showing discomfort, so that's out the window. He's on the IL now.
He shows
Yeah, yeah.
discomfort every time a play doesn't go perfect for him.
That's not true. Judge does that.
They all do. That's a pro athlete thing.
A couple honorable mentions. Obviously, I'm not
Matt
going to explain to you why Cole is the guy that he should have been picked in the first round. I cannot believe that I was able to get Nestor, Cole, and Mr. Trevino. That's a good squad right there. You're not going to get one by me. What, Murph?
Nobody cares about your squad. Garrett Cole, quote, after the game, I think we got a lot of dog in us.
Yeah, we do.
That's going on a t-shirt.
We ain't no puppies.
DA double.
Yeah, can we get a Jameis Winston and Garrett Cole collab?
I think
Dogs,
he
no
stole that
puppies.
from Jameis Winston.
I think we got a lot of dog in us.
did.
Hold on, can I say one thing too? We were talking about before
Yes, you may.
we hopped on the air. That's all fun and good that he said we got a lot of dog in us. You know, all this stuff that's like breaking records. We're on pace to do this and that. The cool post that we saw of Judge facing the TVs of like all of the Yankees World Series teams in the past. We are giving some unbelievable ammo to the memes of the world when hopefully, and I was going to say when, but not when. If we don't win the World Series, we are going to just prepare for it because
It's going to be Aaron Judge watching a TV of the final out of the Dodgers
9 times, or like the final out of us getting limited. We're giving. I don't want to get more into it because I don't think this is going to happen. I think we're going to win, but we are giving some ridiculous ammo. Like
I'm gonna have to.
I
delete the
know.
internet.
I know. Jared Carabas, if we don't win the World Series, is going to bring that Garrett Cole. We got.
He's building a library.
We got
right
a
now.
lot of dog in us. He has an entire Google Drive of things that he's going to unleash to the internet because he can't say it right now. He can't. There's nothing for him to say, and I guess it's just him specifically I'm talking about right now. But I mean the rest of the internet. But I can see him being the guy spearheading this.
You know who I'm starting to hate a lot is Blue Jay fans. I never thought like I would have a bone to pick with them because they're the Blue Jays, and I like a lot of the people in the Blue Jays, but Blue Jay fans are kind of fucking annoying, at least on the internet.
I don't pay attention to him.
Toronto Maple Leafs fans are notoriously annoying in the hockey world, so I'm not surprised by that.
Rangers aren't playing anymore. I don't care about hockey.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Cool.
One last thing before we hop off here. One person that wasn't mentioned as well was Stanton, and that maybe it's because of the injury, but he was at the beginning of the year. We're talking about Mike King having such a role in the beginning, and then kind of not falling off, but tapering off a little bit. Like he was the one-man wrecking crew on this team early on in the year. Obviously, Judge was there doing his damn thing the whole time, but I mean, X factors. Do you want to do a fun little thing before we sign off? Is one more round of X factors for the rest of the way who we would take?
Okay. Sure.
Same
The
for-
rapid
can we-
fire.
New people or
No, not necessarily.
Let's do a whole
Clear,
nother
clear the
3-round
board.
draft.
Clear the board. No, whole other 3-round draft.
Yeah. Everybody wants to stay up
Specifically
till 5 a.m.
minor leaguers.
Yeah.
That's it.
get comfortable, people. We're in another hour of this episode.
Yeah, there's a
we'll
16-minute
We're going
monologue.
till 2 a.m. tonight.
16-minute
I guess,
monologue
this
on why
morning.
Luke picked Luis Hill as the rallying point.
Whatever, man. We don't have to do it.
No, I want to do it. We were just piggybacking.
You guys are the worst.
Oh, there was one. Damon had back-to-back picks, and Rel had a 20-minute monologue in between.
That was the whole point of this exercise. It was to
This exercise.
to bring up this stuff in a fun way. We hit on a lot of good topics. This is good content. Excuse me for not just saying here's my pick and being a fucking fuck you, Murph.
It was funny.
Somebody's
I
upset
bet-
about the Meet Virginia comment
was-
the other day. He's like,
New Virginia is a great song.
It was Damon's pick, and he didn't.
Murph's just right back on it.
Whatever, man.
All right. You want to lead us off?
No, fuck you guys.
Oh, stop.
Aw.
Who was first?
Imagine,
Damon?
imagine picking like Aaron Hicks to be the guy.
No.
Could be.
All right. Damon?
Why not? Oh, I haven't really thought about it. I'm
going mustaches all 4 picks.
going clean shaving. Can
I go?
One.
Sure. I know.
Because you're just gonna make
Yeah, go
noises.
ahead.
You're just gonna make noises until you
I'm
figure
going to go
something
second.
out.
'cause
I was just
go-
gonna talk to everybody about nonsense until I figure it out. But go for it.
I'm gonna take, and this is more out of hope than it is out of real. I think he's gonna do better. It's Joey Gallo because if we're talking X factors, If that guy can turn around, he's our 9 hitter currently. If he turns around, I don't think he'll continue to hit 9, but he's got the talent. If he starts hitting well, he's never going to hit for average. It's not going to happen. If he starts hitting like the player that he has always been, I mean, I'm not going to pull up the numbers.
Like a borderline MVP candidate.
He's been. I'm going to pull up the numbers because everybody knows how he's actually a very good player for his entire career. If he starts playing like the guy he is, and I mean, he is a Gold Glove defender. He's got a rocket arm. I mean, he's a funny dude. Like he stuffs the stat sheet in more ways than one. I think if we're talking X factors and a guy that really makes this team complete in a championship team, I think Joey Gallo is the guy. If he turns it around, this team is going a long way. And I think that feeds into the theory of like why, Cole wasn't picked until the last pick of that draft because you expect it out of him. The rest of the guys that we just picked in this draft, I'm going to expect them to continue to play that way.
Yep.
I don't even think with an exception of anybody, but like if Joey Gallo, a guy who wasn't even thought of in this draft because he's been so bad in the beginning of the year, I think he has the pedigree to come back and be that guy, and I genuinely believe it. I think he's going to be not. I don't think he's going to be better than the rest of the guys on this list that I mentioned. Like he's not going to be more impactful in terms of like WAR and all these stats than Judge and Stanton and all these guys. But if he's hitting in the 9 spot, the 8 spot, wherever the hell it is, we are absolutely crushing teams.
I saw a tweet that was like,
it's not close.
Imagine telling a Rangers fan last year that Jose Trevino is pinch hitting for Joey Gallo in a 1-run game.
That's fun.
But I'm going to take my pick, and for obvious reasons, I'm going Giancarlo Stanton as an X factor going forward. We all know he's going to have his ups and downs, whatever. No biggie there. I don't really care if he slumps. As long as he still comes back with the next month where he hits 20 home runs, it is what it is. But, I need him to be out there in the field. I need him to stay healthy. I need him to, hit his home runs, do what he does, roll to the playoffs. I need playoff Stanton there. I think if playoff Stanton's clicking with the rest of this team, the way that they're built and the way that they're playing, it's gonna be a tough out.
Yep.
Can I say one more thing on Joey Gallo? I saw a ridiculous stat.
It has to be about his mustache.
It's about no. It's if Jose Ramirez struck out 127 times in a row, he would still have a lower K percentage than Joey Gallo.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Just to paint a picture of how bad Gallo's been. I mean, he's never going to be good at strikeouts, but it's just that's crazy.
Good at strikeouts.
Murph, who you got?
I'm going to go Josh Donaldson.
I like
That's
that
good.
pick.
It's a good pick.
He seems like he's starting to mesh a little bit, getting comfortable in the DH spot with the occasional third base, and he's probably going to be in the lineup more often than not. I think he'll figure it out. Not that he hasn't. He's been a plus, definitely. But, yeah, I'll take him going forward.
I'm going to go with Chapman, to be honest.
Wow.
I don't hate that.
Like,
I don't hate that
dude,
one
if
bit.
Chapman can figure it out, and we have Chapman and Clay Holmes in the bullpen, and Loizaga, I'm not going to say Loizaga now, because Loizaga has literally shown us nothing so far this year. So
He would have been
I'm
a good
going to
one
say,
for this.
Yeah, Loizaga could be good.
I'm going to say Chapman and Clay Holmes. Sorry, Chapman, because if Chapman and Clay Holmes are firing on all cylinders, and we're leading the game with 2 innings left, we're fucking
Batman
winning.
and Robin.
We're winning right there, and that is just
Which one's Batman?
I don't know.
Clay Holmes.
Murph just looks so dead serious.
I don't know.
I can get back to you on
I was
that.
thinking about it, and I really couldn't decide.
Like, I cannot imagine a world where they're both firing on all cylinders, and
That'd be crazy.
we're winning games, and then we have those 2 guys to close it out. Like, dude,
That'd be
who
crazy.
would you want more in that situation when we're about to win a World Series? You want Chapman, who you want prime Chapman, not prime, but like Chapman who's
dealing.
who's dealing, and
Who
Clay
actually
Holmes
has
who is
shown
what he's doing
recently
right
that
now.
he can do that.
What a
He-
wild image in your head. Clay Holmes. After the reaction, we just brought that up, the reaction we had to him last year, to picture him closing out Game 7
I mean,
of the
to
fucking World Series.
be fair, he did have a fucking 5 ERA when we fucking
the Pirates.
traded
No,
for
I don't.
him.
That was the proper reaction.
Yeah.
We were below 500,
Everybody,
and we
everybody
traded
knows
our.
that too. We reposted, and everybody was like, "Yeah, this is fun. It's good that you guys can eat it." But
Yeah, somebody wrote a very nice comment about that. We are more man than others.
Not afraid to tell you when I'm wrong. because I'm wrong a lot.
Amen, Damon. Hey, so is baseball. You want to get into some philosophical stuff, you know?
You
Fail 70% of the time, you're still a Hall of Famer.
Goddamn right.
Much like life.
Well,
We'll leave you with that.
That's what big life wants.
It's your Monday motivation. All right, that's it for me. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, good job, Chandler. Snaps
Thank
for
you.
Chandler.
Yeah, snaps for Chandler.
Snaps for Chandler.
Maybe
Good
we can
job.
do that again at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So like November 2nd. Boom.
Boom.
See you in the World Series.
Roasted all other 29 teams.
Yeah, fuck you, Blue Jays, Rays, Red Sox, Orioles.
D-backs, Padres, Reds, Cubs. All right, that'll do it from us. It is very late, and I have to go to bed. But I'm probably going to play with my new TV for a little bit longer. Anywho, as always, thank you guys for joining us. I can't even speak anymore. It's so late. If you want to give us a 5-star rating review, I don't even care, to be honest.
We'd appreciate it, though.
Subscribe to the YouTube if you feel like it. All right, bye.